Hello, and welcome to One Voice Live, where we talk about One Voice, what it is, and how it fits into the world of singing. I am your host, Alex Zeto, and today we are doing a singer study episode, and we will be talking about Kelli O'Hara. And just a quick reminder to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, as well as subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any of our content. And if you're curious about One Voice and what it is we do, or looking to start your One Voice journey, you can visit our website at singonevoice.com. So today, to discuss Kelli O'Hara, we are going to bring on creator of One Voice, Michael Maresca. Hello, Michael.
Ooh, hello, everybody. Hello. Good to be here.
So we are studying Kelli O'Hara today, Michael.
Yes.
And this is just to look at some of her choices, some of her defaults, and to better understand how she's making those choices as a singer.
Awesome. Very excited. Kelli's a beautiful singer.
Yeah.
Lovely. Glad to be
gorgeous.
A singer study on her.
Shall we listen to our first clip?
Yes. So let's begin.
Let's do it.
So we're going to listen to the clip to start off. Listen to her describe some things she's doing, and then we'll probably refer to it again a couple times because we're going to listen to it a couple times, or a couple different versions of songs that she sings.
Yep.
Versions, a couple different songs.
Yes.
Versions of Kelli. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go.
We are listening to 3 different clips of Kelli, kind of showcasing different choices she's making. And the first one is Light in the Piazza.
Yes. Classic.
Let's hear
Classic.
it. So gorgeous. I love that score so much. So Michael, my first question is, what do you think in the conventional world of singing, how would they define what Kelli's doing there?
I think they would say that she is probably, they would call it a contemporary legit. So if you think of like old school in the world of musical theater, we have a term called legit, for those of you who aren't familiar with, and it really just means like a classical sound is what it kind of means, operatic-ish. But it's a little more spoken word in the world of musical theater for the most part, and there's a difference between some of the classics in musical theater and some of the contemporary stuff in musical theater when it comes to putting a classic flair on it. And so, I think this would be considered a contemporary legit. The second thing is that I think people would get kind of lost in the idea of whether or not it is what the world would call a mix, or if she's getting to her legit voice. It's a little confusing, and then if maybe she belts in some parts. So I think people would be a little confused as to what she does. They would just say she sounds really pretty. I think.
Yeah.
Don't you agree? Does that sound about right? Am I missing anything there?
No, not at all. Yeah, I think some people would fight that it's head voice, and other people would fight that it was leaning towards a mix.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. That it's a strong head voice.
Strong head voice, yeah.
If only we could have a voice in our heads. We all already do, ladies and gentlemen. We all already have voices in our heads.
We do. Some of us more than others, Michael.
Some of us more than others. Yeah.
Okay, so in the world of One Voice, how do we define what she's doing in that clip?
Yeah, so listening to it, I think what's really cool is first, we'll break these down in a couple ways. Why don't we break these down, if you're cool with this, Alex, why don't we break it down by weight, volume, and then shape. And let's also talk about coordination. So strike that. Coordinations, weight, volume, shape.
Yep.
You play the clip again?
Yes, let's do it. So shall we start
Love
with
that.
coordinations?
Yeah. And I wanted to write a note for when she does is tearing. I love that. Great. Okay. Coordinations. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead. It's an easy one.
So what's really funny is you hear that a lot of people would say that's head voice, but in our world, she's really living in middle coordination. Even all those like super high notes, she keeps hitting an E, which in the world of one voice, uh, ladies transition on an F between coordinations. So she only sings in her head coordination for one note. Is that
Amazing.
very highest note? Yeah.
If she's even singing, and she's in chest coordination on some of the lower stuff,
Some
right?
lower stuff as well. Yep.
Yeah, that's so lovely. And for those of you hearing this who don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about the coordinations, and coordinations differ from what we would conventionally talk about as head voice, chest voice, which is based on resonance. What we're talking about is we're talking about the coordinations, which is based on the coordination theory, the one voice coordinations theory, which talks about specific coordinations in the larynx that give us access to a specific range of notes. It has nothing to do with resonance at all. So that being said, yes, totally. She's only in middle coordination. It's possible for you nerdy one voices out there that she's not even going into head coordination at all. It's possible that she's forcing middle. Possibly.
Do you think?
I don't know. We might have to listen to it again. That's really fun. Hopefully, that'd be really fun.
Hopefully she's pulling a coordination.
That'd be fun. Yeah, so I wanted to now let's talk about weight, right? So in weight, the weight that she's doing is really interesting. In the beginning, she's actually in a heavier weight, probably a heavy midweight, maybe a heavyweight, more likely a heavy midweight. And the part where she builds up, she goes tearing. When she gets up to the tearing, halfway through the little cut that we're listening to, she then moves and jumps into a lighter weight there. But she's actually not going insanely light. So like if this is heavyweight and this is lightweight, and this right here is dead center midweight. And you guys can think of weights as like zones if you want to. There's like a zone of heavyweight from here to here, zone of midweight from here to here, and I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Lightweight, thank you, from here to here, midweight from here to here, and then heavyweight from here to here. And by the way, can you see my full arm here?
I can, yes. I'm missing your fingertips, but I'm seeing about like that much.
Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. So that is what we are dealing with here. When she goes to sing, what she ends up doing, she ends up actually in the beginning when she's doing the lower part, she's closer to a heavyweight, but she's not quite in a heavyweight. She doesn't quite sound like she's rocking a heavyweight, and the air that she's releasing still doesn't sound like she's quite at a heavyweight. So she's sitting somewhere right here, just on the right side of that midweight. And then when she goes up, she pops over to the light side of midweight, slight heavy lightweight, if we want to call it that. So she's kind of moving in this zone up there. And then when she gets really loud, she actually increases her weight a little bit more and moves closer towards that dead center of midweight, which is a little confusing. And that's probably why people are like, oh no, she's in conventional terms, be like, oh, she's in head voice. No, she's mixing. In our world, really what she's doing is simply fluctuating between weights just a little bit, is what I would say. Yes? Thoughts? Yes?
Agreed, yeah. Absolutely.
Bam.
I think that's what makes it so confusing, because not only is it an odd combination of things for this style that we're used to hearing, just like head voice, chest voice, but she also fluctuates a little bit within it, but not enough to be switching a voice, just enough to make it really confusing for the conventional world of singing.
So people are like, I think she's in chest voice, but now she's in mix. No, she's in head voice. No,
and like seamless, totally seamlessly.
Yeah, seemingly seamless. So if we throw that out the window, right, and then we say, all right, she's actually moving from one coordination to the next. She's changing weights from chest coordination up into middle coordination. She doesn't even go into head coordination. Maybe, possibly on one note, is in middle coordination. And by the way, I will say this because I think it's important for our viewers to know this, that middle and mix are not the same thing. Got to be very clear about that. I think in terms of people hearing what we're saying, people are like, oh yeah, no, of course I see what they're saying. Middle is just a synonymous word for mix. It's not. Remember that middle is a coordination, and each coordination is responsible for its own range of notes as well as it produces sound in its own way. So keeping that in mind, that middle is its very own thing, whereas mix was a contemporary concept in the world of singing training about mixing a resonance of head voice and chest voice together, where in this world of one voice, we're not defining this at all by resonance. So middle coordination is talking to a specific coordination of the muscles in the larynx that give us access to a specific range of notes. Okay, I just wanted to side note that. Now we're back. So yes, so I think that's why it's so confusing. Like you said, I totally agree with you. I think you nailed it on the head and why it like rips people's brains apart. But if we look at it from the standpoint of just saying, well, this is chest coordination, middle coordination. Now the next question is, okay, well, how is she making the sound that she's making, the quality of sound she's making, not the shape yet, but the quality. And that's just that fluctuation of weight that we just talked about, which is really cool. All right, Alex, you take volume.
Volume. I think she has a pretty nice build in it. I think it starts quieter and then gets louder at the end. I mean, it's pretty simple. We can hear it. Everywhere is the peak, where she's either going into head coordination or not. That's where it's the peak volume. And then she comes back down again for the end.
Yeah, I totally agree. And she just builds. She's just loud. So now she's up in middle. She's at a lighter mid-weight, and she is loud. Okay. So more confusing is going to be the shape. Right? And would you because I think you do it lovely, is explain just very quickly the difference between creating versus shaping, the one voice concept of creating versus shaping sound?
Absolutely. So we have a theory called creation versus shaping, and that's where we separate what happens here versus what happens up here. So here's where we create the sound. This is where your vocal cords are. This is where you choose pitch, therefore coordination, weight. It's where you decide how much air you're going to restrict or not restrict. And then that sound then comes up, travels through your vocal tract, and that's when you actually change the shape of the sound. And those two things theoretically have nothing to do with one another. Now, a lot of people in the conventional world of singing, and even with the information we have, it's really hard to separate those sometimes. A lot of times we fluctuate a weight, and with that, our vocal tract will shorten or some other combination. But we know that ultimately it doesn't have to happen that way.
Amazing. And Alex, I'm not remembering this right now. I did with this where we talked about Gaston and LeFou.
Yes.
Or was that you and Marchese?
That was me and Marchese. Yep. For the bright versus dark sound.
Bright versus dark. Yeah. Okay. Check that out to just review what we're talking about, because it will enlighten this, as it were. Bright dark. Okay. Sorry. So witty. Great. So awesome. Okay. Yes. Amazing. So the shape is really interesting. This time we're going to listen. Let's go back to listen to it, if you don't mind. Let's listen to it again. And let's listen to see if her vocal tract is what we'd call neutral. And you guys can think of it in three ways. You can think of what we'd call neutral vocal tract, low or large vocal tract, versus small. So you've got neutral, small, and then large. So it'd be like that is large. And notice right now, guys, how I'm not changing the pitch. And right now I'm at neutral. And then now I'm at a small vocal tract. I'm basically taking the whole shaping apparatus and I'm squishing it, making it small, or relaxing it, or making it big. So let's listen again and see what we got here with that. So pretty.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I would
that's
say
head coordination
longer vocal
for me.
Yeah, your head coordination.
That's head coordination for a male.
Yeah.
Not for Male. Okay. Great. Okay. Shaping. So in the beginning, when she goes, we'll start it from the part where she goes down and then builds up.
Mm-hmm.
So there, to me, she sounds like she goes to a little bit more of actually a smaller vocal tract, slightly smaller. And then for the part where she goes up and changes weights, up in middle coordination, she actually drops and goes to a more of a neutral vocal tract. But she doesn't actually go big. She does go big in other songs, but in this one, she doesn't seem to get larger at all. She stays neutral, which makes it feel more conversationally.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. What do you think?
I completely agree. It's really fascinating. But she still sounds contemporary legit. I don't feel like she ever crosses over into, oh, she sounds contemporary or classic.
I don't think she goes like she doesn't sound like someone singing in Carousel from the original. No. You're not like, oh, it's definitely now. Yeah, not at all.
Totally, yeah. It's so interesting. But I also don't feel like she ever dangerously gets into too contemporary, where it would take her out of this style either.
Not at all. No. She's like if this is the range of like neutral vocal tract, small vocal tract, and like large vocal tract, she like kind of goes here and then she drops back to this.
Yep.
And you can hear it along, like Alex said. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean that.
No, go. You're on a roll.
Just like Alex said, I think it's really cool to highlight, or I'd like to highlight, based off what you said, the moment when she goes in, all I want is all this tearing. When she goes to tearing, when she gets into tearing, you'll hear not only a weight shift, but you hear the vocal tract go click, and it just opens a little bit bigger, just a little bit. Would you mind playing that part again? When you can just pause right after it. I just want to hear that.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Lovely song. Is there any more that we should discuss on this one, or should we move on to the next?
Let's move on to the next. I do want to bring up, though, Michael, do you remember me working on that in college with you?
Wow. Throw back.
Remember that? Every time I hear it, I think about that, and I did it for one of our finals, and I was just like...
You killed it. Amazing.
Thank you. I wanted to be her so badly. That's when my love for Kelli O'Hara began.
Who doesn't? I want to be Kelli O'Hara.
Well, you can't.
Fan.
Okay, clip number 2. Bridges of Madison County.
Lovely.
So.
I knew if I just took his hand, I could at last be free. I could love him, I could want him, only take me from Italia. Far enough that I could feel.
Great.
Boom. Oh, this is great. I'm so glad we're listening to this one. That's lovely.
The contrast is so good.
So good. Yeah, go. Take us on coordination and take us on weight.
Great. So coordination again. She's mostly writing chest middle. She does pop up to an F, and then the very top note is a G in head coordination.
Amazing, seamless.
Yep.
Weights.
Pretty light, between light and mid, I would say. When she dips down, it does get heavier, I think. More so in like the chest coordination, but yeah. What do you think about weight?
Yeah, well, we'll need to listen to it again, but I think that, and then on shaping and volume, she definitely gets loud. She goes from a quiet to a loud up top. Into the dramatic moment, she gets much louder. But she also, and I want to highlight that's a moment when people hear us talk about weights, particularly a lightweight. People say, well, it can't be a lightweight. It's too powerful. But powerful is another vague word that we use that means a lot of things. Powerful in most cases really just means volume, right? So like if she's like loud and just like breaking down the walls of their vocals in terms of volume, that's very powerful, yes. But it's still a lightweight. If she was a heavyweight, then she would be sounding like she were belting the song. She's not. She doesn't sound that way. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a key distinction to take note of. In terms of shaping, this one, however, far larger vocal track than Line the Piazza. I mean, she really goes like almost classical, straight up shape. Yeah. In terms of how large it is, so she goes from a neutral vocal track to a large vocal track. and then she gets a little smaller when she goes back down in chest coordination and pops back in. You can really hear it. It's big. She really goes big. Can we listen to it again for the weight?
Absolutely.
I knew if I just took his hand, I could at last be free. I could love him, I could want him, only take me from Italia. Far from here, far enough that I could feel.
Right.
Great. You know, one of the things that's interesting that I would love to hear that I don't hear that she doesn't do in this song, and she doesn't sustain the same weight and shape all the way through. So when she moves down, you actually hear her shift in from middle coordination into chest coordination, and then changes the weight and the shaping at the same time. And so there's this shift in sound. It doesn't jar you. You're not like, but that's also a sound that we still accept from a woman, which is not something that we accept from a man in singing. We were talking about this a couple shows back, and I think it's really interesting that here, like, we have no issue with it. If you heard a man do that, you would be like, that's weird. Can you not sing it? You know, can you not sing the song? You know, it's very interesting, but it's lovely. It's such a beautiful sound. So yeah, I think she changes weight when she goes back into chest coordination. But I think what's interesting in this song, I think she's actually quite a bit lighter than she was in Light in the Piazza in the upper parts. She's quite she's lighter, but she's loud and has a large vocal tract, which makes it sound powerful.
Yeah, I do also hear her gain weight on that very top note, the G. She increases weight just a little bit. You hear that air that's coming through just tighten. Yeah,
totally.
Whoa, with that vocal tract and the volume, it's just like
big opera sound thing, which is really great. Yeah, I love that. That's such a this show. I can't.
I can't.
If you've seen this, you should. I mean, if you haven't listened to this, listen to it, people. Listen to her sing. It's beautiful, and the other singers in here are stunning as well.
Yeah. I also think it's so interesting, just from like a storytelling aspect, that we always associate. If you listen to her in Light in the Piazza, she's young and she's naive, and with a shorter vocal tract, and now she's lived her life. She's an older woman and larger vocal tract, and we associate larger vocal tract with like wisdom and age.
It's kind of like there was a. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
No. Repeat what you said. You just skipped for a second.
It reminds me of. I wish I could remember her name. It was a girl on like X Factor, America's Got Talent, or one of those shows, and she's 13, and she comes out and she sings like. She has this like huge sound, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, amazing! What a mature voice! What a mature!" And like the whole time I'm looking at it, I'm like that's awesome that she's 13 and just is singing with a large vocal tract.
Yeah.
And it was so, I felt like such a, at the moment I listened to it, I was like, oh, she just has a large vocal tract, and everyone's making such a big deal about it. And yes, like, okay, being 13 and singing well is a feat in and of itself, but she was just singing well with a large vocal tract at the same time. And I thought, that's so interesting. And so everyone's like, what a mature sound. You know what? I'm not sure that she's too young to handle that kind of sound. What do you mean? It's just a shape, literally just a shape. So funny, because like you said earlier, Alex, people confuse those things all the time, shaping versus creating. That the creation was the same as any other 13-year-old was doing, but she maintained her lightweight throughout, which was lovely, and it was strong. But the other side, the side that impressed people, was the large vocal tract, because you turn around and you're like, oh, she's 25, she's 26, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's a 13-year-old girl. And just like you said, we attribute that to age, and I love that. I love it. I just love it. I think it's a great point.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I was thinking about if how every time we hear like "You'll Never Walk Alone," it's never with a short vocal tract, because it doesn't mean anything. But and we're like, I believe you. You know what you're talking about. Like, thank you for the
wisdom.
Wisdom, exactly.
Wisdom.
I just realized Like, you're the Grinch who stole talent. Like, everyone who's like, oh my god, she's a child prodigy. Like, listen to that voice. And you're just like, it's a long vocal track.
It's funny. That's funny. That's horrible, but that's great.
I love it so
great.
much.
I think it's great, right? Yeah, like the more we can just like erase talent out of it, it allows us to push ourselves to say, I can do that. It's just a matter of me like taking the initiative or doing the work that needs to be done. Yeah, it's lovely. Lovely. Thank you, Alex. I take that as a compliment.
It is. I just thought it was funny.
The Grinch who stole talent. Thank you.
I'm going to make an edit for Christmas time.
And it'll be my face.
You're just going to be green, like with...
I'll have a bag and it'll say talent in it.
Woo! I'm doing it. Shall we move to the third clip?
Let's do. It'd be delightful.
Great. This is there once was a man from the Pajama Game.
I love's meteoric, it's merely historic, a whirlwind, a cyclone on wheels. It rocks my whole solar plexus, it's bigger than Texas. I just can't tell you how it feels. I only know there once was a woman who loved a man, loved him enough to cause the Trojan War. They say that nobody ever loved as much as she, but me. I love you more.
Great.
It's perfect. That's so fantastic.
Yeah. So this is the most contemporary of the three. The three cuts that we've heard. So coordinations, Michael.
My turn. All right. Chest and middle. Easy one. Easy. Weights. Heavy. And then very definitely light.
Yeah.
It's like boop. Absolutely.
Lighter than I would even say she does in Light in the Piazza. Higher than that.
And lighter than she does in Bridget. It's like the lightest she does anywhere of all the things, which is interesting. But it's a nice, like, it feels like a nice contrast, almost like a yodel, which is fun. Which is a yodeling, for those of you who don't know. It's just weight jumps. Yodelay, yodelay. You can even do it on the same note. Yodelay. There you go, everyone. There you go. One voice yodeling.
That should be our trailer. Just
There you go. It's magnificent. Yeah. I love it.
Volume.
Yes, volume. Loud, and then changes and goes quiet. Shaping, neutral, maybe a bit smaller, until she goes into her middle coordination and then jumps over. I also think question mark. She could be forcing chest coordination just a touch. The only tell that I have for that is she never sustains weight very long at all, if at all, past an A, which is interesting. She's out. She is out. I don't even know if she goes on the A or not. But it's interesting. She just immediately lets go and jumps into a lighter weight. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like there's doesn't sound a lot of force, forcing of coordination, which is great. So it's possible that she is forcing chest coordination in there. Which is interesting. Mm-hmm. So look, guys, like just because you access notes within a coordination's territory doesn't necessarily mean that you have that you can sustain a particular weight inside of that coordination. So even though she has access to from chest into middle and head, right? Even though she has access to that coordination, she may not be or may not at least here may not be utilizing heavyweight inside that coordination. It's possible. I don't know. We'd have to test it and know more. But it is possible that she's pulling chest coordination, or that she is not, and she's just making an artistic choice to change.
Interesting. Yeah. I want to know. My theory was just that because she sings in lightweight or light to mid so much more often up there, that it probably just feels more comfortable to get off notes faster.
Most definitely. 100%. So play it again. Let's listen to that and let's figure out the notes, because I think let's see which one she holds on to weight to when she releases.
Great.
I love's meteoric, it's merely historic, a whirlwind, a cyclone on wheels. It rocks my whole solar plexus, it's bigger than Texas. I just can't tell you how it feels. I only know there once was a woman who loved a man,
Yeah, she only goes B flat. B flat's the end.
Yeah.
She's like allowed to go for it. I actually feel like she probably does have heavyweight and be amazing. It just may not be as like awesome with her as her other stuff, but like I think she probably like rock the rest of that. It'd be kind of fun to hear. It's interesting, particularly for people who have studied traditional or classical, particularly people who study that, when they get into a sound like she's doing there, they're like, oh my gosh, damage, you're gonna ruin your voice, you're gonna forget Broadway, forget your life, it's over, this is gonna ruin you, right? And it's interesting because she may be totally fine and may totally be fine with sustaining heavyweight there, and all the way throughout middle up to the F, but what we know, and a lot of you out there are like this, like you know that it's bad, but it's not. It's just learning how to sustain a heavyweight throughout your middle and becoming comfortable with that, which is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to hear. It's interesting to hear someone try and navigate that, which is funny. It sounds fantastic and is beautiful, which is really great. But it's just an interesting thing to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, other things to say about that, Alex?
I don't think so. I just love her so much. I do think it's interesting that she uses the H to flip. Me. Because if you don't have the H, then me, it actually becomes a yodel. So she uses that, I think, probably to mask the weight shift just a little bit. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yep.
Yes, Kelli O'Hara, beautiful singer. Thank you, Kelli O'Hara, for letting us study your voice. I feel like that should be like a finishing tagline. Thanks for letting us study your voice.
If we did that at the same time, there would be the lag. We'd be like, your voice.
Voice. Yeah.
Voice.
We're good at that.
One voice. We're so good. Great. Shall we move on to our question segment of the show?
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for singer study.
Yes. Our question for today, I think that's middle coordination. Oh, no, it's not. I lied. I lied to you. Our question for today is from James. And James asks, why is it that two singers singing in the same coordination with the same vocal tract shaping sound different?
Good question, James.
Great question.
James, love you. Thanks for the question, James.
We love you.
Where are the rest of you? Where's everyone else? Give us those questions. We're excited about them. Don't be scared. Okay. All right. So, in your question lies the answer / deception. If someone actually does have the exact same vocal tract shape, not the same vowel, but the exact same shape, they should sound identical. It's how a impressionist makes the sounds of somebody else. They have to shape, quite literally, they have to shape the sound in the same way as the other person. So if you had LeFou and Gaston singing "If I Loved You," right, and they go "If I," or they sing, let's say they sing "Amazing Grace," and they go, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me," right? Even though they're both saying E, and I'll even do it with the same mouth. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Sounds totally different than me. And this has to deal with what we talked about earlier, which is simply the shape of the back. So even though the vowel may be the same in terms of language, the shape of that vowel can be vastly different. Of singing a me like me or me or me. Like there's so many different ways you can sing the word me. Did you want to add anything to that? I just ran on the train track there with that.
No, that was great. Yeah. I think the other reason someone with the same coordination and same shaping can sound different is even if it's the exact same shaping, the exact same notes, their weight could be different is the other part.
So true. Yeah, great point.
But yeah, I getting this question, it made me think of impressions, and it made me think of that guy who does all the Game of Thrones impressions. Have you seen him?
No.
Oh, I have to send it to you. He does almost every character, and some are better than others, but the ones that are, like, so many of them are, like, that person. You close your eyes and it is that actor speaking. That's
amazing. Can we post that in our notes? Can we post that in our notes for the show? A link to that? We're going to post that in our notes, a link to that, guys, which will be fun.
And you will see someone who has really taken the time to understand not just this person's dialect, but their overall shaping, their weight, and what pitches they're speaking on.
Yeah. In fact, everyone at home right now, close your eyes and listen to this. Who can say for certain? Maybe you're still here. I feel you all around me. Your memory so clear. Deep in the stillness, I can hear you speak. You're still an inspiration. Can it be? Who is that, Alex? Who is that?
I didn't know you were related to Josh Groban.
I used to when I was a kid. That's how I learned to sing healthily, quote unquote, was I had to make my vocal tract larger, and that's when I started learning about pulling my larynx down, and that was quote unquote healthy. Even though now, as we talk about it, right, in the world of one voice, has nothing to do with health at all. It has everything to do with shape and someone's preference for shaping sound. There we go. Fun times.
Do you do any other impressions?
Sailor impressions?
Do you do any other impressions of sailors?
No, you said sailor impressions. I was like, I could do a sailor impression. It was a run by fruiting. I do a little bit of some Robin Williams stuff. It's been a long time. I haven't worked my impressions in a while, but yeah, tons of voices. I do lots of voices, but cool. I need to think about specific people. Yeah.
How's your movie trailer voice these days?
Oh man! All right, everyone, here we go. This will be the One Voice Live movie trailer. Here we go. In a world of, dang it, in a world of singing terms that make no sense, one voice stands alone to make it make sense. Now, One Voice Live comes weekly, hosted by Alex Zeto, produced by One Voice for your listening pleasure. That's
amazing. That's so good.
That's how that should be. It'd be like you walk in the room, you're like, hi, my name is Michael, and I'm ready for my spot. In a world.
But people love that.
I know.
It's so weird how people love when you like talk like this, and then you sing, oh, and they're like, whoa.
Unbelievable. You're so mature.
That voice came out of that? Yeah.
So good. This was a blast. A blast of blasts.
Anything else you want to add to answer James' question?
That's it. Thank you, James. Thank you so much for your commitment and awesomeness.
You're a rock star, James. Thank you. All right. So this was our singer study with Kelli O'Hara, you guys. Next week, I'm doing a singer study with Natalie Rankin, One Voice coach. She's making her way back to One Voice Live. And we're studying the one, the only Whitney Houston.
Oh, wow.
No, I know. Take that. Just take it. Ooh. I'm so excited. How I'm going to pick 3 clips, don't even...
Impossible. Good luck. It's going to take years.
Yeah, years and years. Yeah. But instead, it will actually be next week, same time, on YouTube, 6:30 p.m. CT. Yes, so we will see you guys there. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.